you're trying to learn a new trade or a new skill, it's very important that you are working on things on the side, that you have your own side projects, that you're building stuff yourself and actually getting your hands dirty to learn the most, right? And if you're a student, or if you have a job, you gotta be in the office 8 hours a day, you gotta study for all of your exams. It might be very frustrating if you don't have enough time or the energy to actually be working on stuff that you want to be working afterwards. Trust me, I've been in that situation where I get home, I'm so tired from the day that I cannot, work on the things that I want to be working. And so if you're in a similar situation, stick to the end because I'm going to be giving you a few tips that really help me at least be more consistent with my side projects and to actually find the motivation and the time to be working on those things despite how busy your schedule might be. Tip number one, and that's the most idealistic tip I'm going to be giving you and probably one of the hardest ones to implement, but it's to try to align your main interests with your main activities. And by main activity, I mean maybe your job or your university studies. And that was key for me because when I first started working, I took the first job that they offered me. Back then I was a student and I thought to myself, why shouldn't I take this job? It's a good salary, it's nice. But only after I started working that I realized it wasn't really what I wanted to be doing. I was working as a project manager, but I knew that I really wanted to be building stuff. I like to program, I like to build robots. I've always liked those things. And I just took that first job because it just sounded like a no-brainer option for me. It was the first offer they gave me. However, I realized that pretty soon I was spending most of my day doing something that I didn't want to be doing. And after spending all those hours at work, getting home and trying to work on something that I really wanted to be doing, like programming or building these projects on the side, was very difficult, very frustrating. And it was only after, I asked my boss back then if I could be doing some more programming activities. He actually put me in this other team and I actually joined these software developers and I actually got to do some work for them. And that was key here because I was now spending a lot of hours of my day actually working towards something that I actually enjoyed. And so even if I didn't have as much energy after work to actually build something on the side, I was still a little bit happy because I still made progress that day towards learning something new, something that made me a better programmer, for example. In the end, I ended up quitting that job and I found a software developer job so that I could focus 100% of my time towards the thing that I wanted to be doing. And so the point here is to try to align as best as possible what you want to be doing with your main activities. And that really, completely changes the game because now, even when I'm working, even when I'm spending all these hours at the office, I'm still making progress towards the stuff that I wanted to be doing. Tip number 2 is for you to try to learn at work. And what I mean by that is to maybe try to stay 30 minutes to 1 hour after you've done all of your hours. Maybe you worked your 8 hours for that day. Try to stay a bit longer in the office, or if you're doing home office, try to stay at your desk for maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour. And use that time to actually be doing stuff that you want to be doing. Maybe those are your side project activities, right? And the benefit of this is that you are already in this productive mindset. It's different than when you get home and you want to relax. Maybe you have dinner and you sit down on the couch. It's much more difficult to get that energy back up again for you to sit on your desk and to actually do something that's your own. However, if you're already at the office, just in this productive environment, you just finished working, everything is already open, your laptop is up, have your 2 screens in front of you. It's much easier to keep working on your side projects there than if you wait until you get home to do those things. It's almost like you have this activation energy that if it goes back down, it's much more difficult to bring it back up. And if you're already there in the office, you might as well just do it right then. In my case, for example, I was learning design patterns, which is a subject for software engineering, right? And what I did, 30 minutes to 1 hour after work, I would open up a book and I would just read that. I would study design patterns and I would try to become better. That was my side projects that I was doing at work. Tip number 3 is consistency. And to realize that these side projects, you gotta see them almost as a marathon rather than a sprint. It's much more helpful if you do a little bit every day than if you try to do a bunch together and then never touch it again. And I've talked a lot about this in this channel on a few tips on how you can become more consistent. One of them, for example, is having a streak system where you track how many consecutive days you've been doing a certain activity. And you can do the same thing with your side project tasks, for example. If you're trying to build something on the side, maybe have a streak of spending 30 minutes every single day on that side project. And that's crazy how effective that is because you have this streak system. And whenever you see a 0 there, like you haven't done your activity for that day, you have this psychological pressure of wanting to do that thing, right? So keep track of every single day whether you're making progress towards it. And if for some reason one day you don't do it, you're gonna feel weird. Trust me, it's a very effective tool. Tip number 4 is for you to have fun with it. Ideally, your side project needs to be something that makes you really happy and makes you look forward to doing it. In my case, for example, even this YouTube channel here, that's a side project of mine. And sometimes I look forward to filming these videos. I mean, today I'm filming it from home, but you probably have seen that I've been outside a lot. I take my bike, I bike around town, and I'm always finding a new place in town to discover, and it's always a lot of fun. And it forces me to be outside. So even when I'm at work, I'm looking forward to filming these videos because it forces me to be outside, to be, in nature. And that really, really helps me. In the beginning, I did that mainly because of the lighting, because I could film better and maybe, have a better background for the video so it looks cooler. But over time, I realized that I really enjoyed being outside. And then having this side project was a very soothing activity for me. I really wanted to be outside, and then filming that was very nice. And so being able to have this activity that's really enjoyable might be not as big of a commitment. You might not be as stressed to do it because it actually makes you feel better. But those are just a few tips that I had that really helped me be more consistent with my side projects and really help me, get that extra mile, even though I may be very busy and very tired from my daily job. So thanks for watching, and I see you next time.